What's going on, guys? This is Lonzo Nation 1999. Some of you might know me from my other channel. If you haven't checked it out, I'll put the link in the description. We're going to be talking about one of the big trades of the offseason. Happened about a week ago. Dejounte Murray to the Atlanta Hawks. And what a big trade. I mean, the Spurs load up on draft picks. The Hawks get a good piece to add with Trae Young and Clint Capella and the pieces they're going to keep. Possibly John Collins. We'll see what goes on with him. But they get Dejounte Murray and Jack Landale for Danilo Gallinari, 2023 first round pick, 2025 first round pick, 2026 pick swap, and a 2027 first round pick. So the Spurs load up on draft picks. They're going into a full rebuild. And DeJounte's not an old guy. He's only 25. So he's not even in his prime yet. The Hawks get a young guy, good friends with Trae, can defend it at elite level. And he averaged 21.1 points, 9.3 assists, and 8.3 rebounds. So he had a great year, really doing everything as a PG, putting up Westbrook type numbers, and really showed out last year. He's an excellent defender, so he will help out tremendously in Atlanta with the defense. And him and Trae could kind of split the workload. Trae won't have to run the PG as often, and they could set more off-ball plays, maybe picks, kind of get him open more from three like the Warriors do with Curry. So really a great trade for both sides. He didn't want to re-sign in San Antonio. And really, the Spurs add a bunch of future draft picks for the future. They're probably going to trade Jakob Porto as well. The Bulls have been interested in him. So we'll see maybe if they get a Kobe White. Probably not a Patrick Williams, but probably a Kobe White in a trade like that. And then the Hawks, they got a really good roster. They also traded Kevin Huerter to the Sacramento Kings for Justin Holiday, Mo Harkless, and a top 14 protected pick in 2024. So they add more to their bench. Kevin Huerter wasn't going to be in the lineup most likely anymore, so that he was expendable. The Kings load up and get a shooter. So good trade for both sides there as well. Justin Holiday is very underrated in my opinion. He's not the most successful Holiday brother, but he defends. He's a good shooter. He's been on a lot of teams, but that's not always a bad thing. It means you're doing something right if you can stay around for this long. He hasn't been in the league that long, but I think he's about to be 32 next year. So we'll see how he does in Atlanta. His brother Aaron also got signed as a free agent. Aaron Holiday was with the Suns. He's with the Pacers. They did play together in Indiana with the Pacers, so there's kind of a reunion for them, which is pretty cool. And Mo Harkless, solid role player off the bench, so their bench looking pretty solid. So right now their lineup would be Trae Young, Dejounte Murray, DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, and Clint Capella. And like I said earlier, John Collins is a question mark right now. It's been rumored he don't really want to be there, and we'll see what goes on with that. It's been a lot of teams interested in him. The Bulls, the Celtics, both those teams he would be very good on. So we'll see what the Hawks would want in the trade. I'm guessing they would want a starting caliber player, maybe a draft pick. The Bulls, they could offer maybe a Kobe White. They don't have a lot of draft picks since they did the Vooch trade, so we'll see what they offer when it comes to draft. If they even want to go with John Collins, they preach continuality. So we'll see what the Bulls do. And then the Celtics, maybe they offer a Peyton Pritchard, draft picks. They got a lot of draft picks still, but both those teams will be interested. And John Collins, still very good player. He was hurt a lot last year, but a lot of teams definitely be interested. He's still young too, so the Hawks have tremendous interest in him. If they actually go that route, I think a lot of teams are just waiting to see what goes on with Kevin Durant, seeing where he goes, and then we'll start seeing guys like Kobe White, John Collins, guys like that traded, and then we'll see what happens after that. But their lineup's looking really solid. Obviously, DeAndre Hunter, a guy they really have high hopes for. I think that's another reason they traded Kevin Huerter. Get him in the starting lineup and give him minutes, and we'll see how that goes. But Trae and Dejounte Murray, I almost said DeAndre Murray, Dejounte Murray will be very good in that lineup. They're going to play very well off of each other. Dejounte will be there long term, and all in all, it will be a good trade for both sides. The Spurs, they're very good at developing talent. He's a perfect example of that. They're going to get 3 draft picks, so they're going to draft. Maybe they use that in a future trade. But the Spurs have been successful for so long. I know a lot of their fans didn't really want to see a full-on rebuild, but Pop gave his blessing on trading Dejounte Murray, which is a huge deal because he was very high on Dejounte Murray, helped him develop his game. And when you learn from one of the best coaches of all time, you're only going to get better. A guy who coached Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, Ginobili, Kawhi Leonard. I mean, Patty Mills. You look at the list, and it's very impressive for Pop. And he's a championship coach. And now he's kind of going to be like he's coaching at college. He's getting a lot of young players who he's going to have to help develop. And the Spurs deserve a lot of credit. They didn't want to waste DeJounte. He's only 25, and they got the most they were going to get for him, and he wasn't going to stay there long term. So, all in all, I think this trade's going to work out for both sides. The Spurs load up on draft picks, and the Hawks get not an all around, but probably as best of an all around type of point guard. You're going to get a guy who can defend, a guy who can score, assist, rebound. Very great addition for the Hawks, and they deserve a lot of credit. They didn't want to stay patient. They saw last year the way it went. They had to make some moves, and they're not done yet. So really, a great trade. It's going to work out. I think the Hawks are going to probably be, I mean, the East is pretty loaded. A lot of teams have gotten better, but I think the Hawks are going to probably be in the 1 through 7 range, depending on how other teams do, depending on where Kevin Durant goes. I mean, you got Toronto, Miami, Boston, Chicago, Milwaukee. I mean, you got a lot of teams. I probably left out about 4 or 5 teams that are in that group as well. So it's going to be tough for the Hawks, but they got the team to do it. DeJounte's a huge addition for this team. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Comment your thoughts on the trade down below. And thanks for watching.